Hey there, Playbookers. Todd here from the Church Playbook. I am officially on vacation. As of a couple of days ago, I had to come into the office for a couple hours today to tie up some loose ends so that my brain can officially go on vacation tomorrow. I hope that you and your family have got some good summer vacation plans because you need the break. Anyways, I thought I'd put out a video today answering another one of your questions about the unique challenges that we face as pastors when we lead churches of under 200 people. And so the question today is, where do you find staff and how do you pay for them? Which is an amazing question. And take it from me, even though our church is way past 200, we still ask that question. You will never stop asking that question because we're always looking for the next elite staff member, that next staff member that can take our church to the next level. And so, so listen, if you have been asking that question, I feel your pain. But I want to share some tips and tricks that I have found over the last several years in hiring staff. I'm actually going to do this in 2 videos. Today's video is going to be on the 4 essential qualities that you need in any staff member that you bring on your team. And this includes volunteers. Okay, the next video is going to be about how do you actually pay for them. Now, the first thing I want you to know when it comes to looking for a staff member, again, paid, volunteer, does not matter. The first thing that you've got to understand is they're in one of 2 places. 1, that person that you're looking for is already at your church, or 2, they're already doing this job that you're looking for in another church and they're just killing it. I mean, they're just doing a really great job. So let me tell you where you're not going to find your next staff member: sitting on the couch watching Netflix. Okay? There's a reason why they are unemployed. And so just take it from me, learn from my mistakes, please. Don't waste hundreds of dollars like I did going to different staffing websites. It's free to upload your resume, but you have to pay to get access to resumes. So if you're looking for a job, it's free to upload a resume, but if you're trying to hire someone to do a job, you have to pay. And I have done this more than once. I've done this on multiple staffing sites. And let me tell you, I did not find one person to talk to through, again, hundreds and hundreds of dollars that we spent looking through hundreds of resumes. It was pretty discouraging. So they're either already in your church or they're at another church. But whether they're at your church, another church, whether you're looking for a volunteer or a part-time or a full-time staff member, there are 4 essentials that person must have in order to be considered to be a part of your team. The first one is this: character. Character. I'm talking about, do they have integrity? I'm talking about when they gave you their resume, did they put their last church on there? I've had it happen before where someone's wanted to come work at our church, but things didn't end well at their last church and they weren't there very long. And so they ended up not putting that church on their resume, thinking that we wouldn't find out. And so if someone is willing to do that, if they're willing to be dishonest right from the get-go, you do not want them on your team. And by the way, like all 4 of these, 2, 3, and 4, these are non-negotiables. These are essentials. These, this is the sacred text when it comes to finding staff members, because an interview is like going on a date. You remember when you first start dating your spouse? I do. Like, I put on nice clothes, clean clothes. I took a shower. I did my hair. I maybe even put a little cologne on. And my wife and I, we've been married for more than 20 years now. We still date each other regularly, and I still put on clothes. Sometimes they match, sometimes they don't. I guess it depends on where we're going. But in interviews, like going on a date, and people want you to like them. You want them to like you. And I get it. But there's only two ways that you're going to find out if someone has character. One is if you have spent a lot of time with them over a long period of time, or two, you've talked to someone that has spent a lot of time with them over a long period of time. It's the only way you're going to find out if they have good character, Christ-like character. In fact, here's a little pro tip. When you check their references, and by the way, doesn't matter if they're volunteer or paid, you need to check their references. When you're on the phone with Mr. Johnson talking about Joey who applied for a job at your church, you say, hey, Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for spending some time on the phone with me today, helping me get to know Joey a little bit better. I want to get to know as many people as I can that know Joey pretty well. Is there anyone else that you think I should call? And depending on Mr. Johnson's response tells me a lot about whether or not I want Joey on my team. Okay? So they have to have character. Now, the second thing that they need to be a part of your team is competency. And competency answers the question, can they actually do the job? Do they have experience doing the job? In the churches I grew up in, we sort of valued competency over everything else. Like the pastor would get up behind the pulpit and do this cattle call and say, you know, we really need a 4th grade boy Sunday school teacher, and Mr. Smith is sitting in the pews over here, and I mean, Mr. Smith doesn't even like kids, let alone 4th grade boys, but he's not doing anything, and he's got a pulse, and so, we asked Mr. Smith to be the 4th grade boy Sunday school teacher, and, he can't do the job. So, or even if he could, it doesn't mean that he should. So in churches over the years, we've really kind of valued competency over character. And I'm saying that character is number one. If they don't have character, they ain't got nothing. So we're looking for character. Then we want to know, can they actually do the job? And then the third thing I want to know is, do I have chemistry with them? And this is something, if character, you can only find out you have character by spending a lot of time with someone over a long period of time. You know if they have chemistry about 30 seconds after they walk through the door. Chemistry answers the question, do I actually like this person? And listen, it matters if you like this person. I'm not saying you have to be best friends with them, but sometimes I spend more time with my team than I do my own family. Like Easter, Christmas, there's certain crunch times, certain seasons where it's all hands on deck. And listen, if I'm going to do ministry for the long haul, if I want to build a team that wants to do ministry together for the long haul, it's important that they work and play well with each other in the sandbox. So we want character, we want competency, we want chemistry. And then this fourth one is actually, usually it's overlooked, but it's culture. Do they fit the culture? My dad was in the Navy, and so I've been all over the country multiple times. I spent the first 6 years of my life living in the South, and I've been West Coast, East Coast multiple times, again, thanks to the United States Navy. And I'm currently in Southern California. And let me tell you, there's a big cultural difference between South Carolina and South California. And I've lived in both. I love both. But culture matters. If we're going to be incarnational with the gospel, if we're going to reach people for Jesus, where he has called us to reach them, it matters that your staff, paid, part-time, volunteer, whatever, matches the culture. I hired a children's director a few years back, and such a great guy. he loved the Lord. It was obvious. He had experience as a children's director. And I really liked him, and the kids absolutely loved him. But the culture didn't fit. The culture did not fit. And so, I showed up to church one day, and he had put up all of these laminated signs all over the building instructing parents, no food or drink in the children's sanctuary. First of all, we don't call it the children's sanctuary. We call it Kids Town. That's what we call our children's ministry. And then there was another laminated sign that said, "Moms and dads, please take your children to the bathroom before church so that we don't have to." And I had to explain culturally, while I totally got where he was coming from and what he was saying, that we as a staff, we're actually here for the church. The church is not here for us. They're not here to make our job easier. We're here to serve them. And so if that means we're going to do goldfish crackers for snack time and 5 minutes before service gets out, you and the other children's ministry volunteers are going to line the kids up and do a bathroom run before church gets out, that's what we have to do. But where he came from, and I used to live there, that was unheard of. You don't take food into God's house. I get it. Moms and dads make Sunday school easier for us. I get it. But that's not, culturally, that's not what we're about here in Southern California. So you need to have these 4 things: character, competency, chemistry, and culture. Here's a little bit of homework for you right now. Between now and when the next video comes out, I want you to write down the names of your team. I want you to write down the names of your ministry leaders, of key volunteers, of the folks that are on your deacon or elder board. I want you to write down their names, and then I want you to put them through this matrix. Do they have character? Can they actually do the job that you need them to do? Do you have chemistry with them? And do they fit your churches and communities' culture? And then you may have to make some decisions about that as a result of that little bit of homework. So I hope that was helpful when it comes to thinking about who should go on your team next. In the next video, I'm going to talk about where do you actually find these people and how can you afford them in a church of less than 200 people. God bless you guys. We'll see you soon.